You may have already seen this video of Ivandrel, showcasing some interesting moments resulting from the new bounty system released about a patch ago. It shows things like Akshan killing a dragon and instantly gaining a 700 bounty from it, as well as numerous massive fluctuations in the bounty, all happening in the matter of just a few seconds. Now, this isn't just a one-off occurrence, and you'll sometimes see even crazier things than this happening with these new bounty systems. Like this moment taken from one of my own solo queue games, where Aurelia has a massive 600 gold bounty on her head, but then because her teammate Kennen dies, it suddenly disappears entirely. Was killing Kennen potentially a mistake by blue team here, since it somehow took away Aurelia's bounty, and why the hell is this happening? Now, after researching it, the new bounty system works in a really interesting way that might actually be abusable through strategic intentional deaths, and as bizarre as it looks so far in this intro, the system is actually kind of good and balanced for the most part. Now, full transparency, I never intended to actually make this video. I was making a video answering random viewer questions that you guys gave me, and explaining the bounty system was just one point in this larger video. But upon researching, I realized that I had to put that video on hold till next week because this topic on the new bounty system is just so good. It deserves its own deep dive.
My name's Rogue and I played League of Legends professionally for 7 years. Now I'm a full-time content creator and coach for all ranks iron through to Challenger. So if you want more information of what a coaching session with me will look like, you can find more information by following the link in the video description below.
And while you're in the description, you'll also find the link to my Patreon where I post all of the recordings of my best coaching sessions in full, with almost 1,000 hours of content currently available, all sorted by role and rank, including sessions where I coach for professional level teams. You can get a glimpse of what pro level league looks like from the inside. That's why whatever you're looking for, you'll easily be able to find something that's going to help you improve, no matter your rank. So why is it that Kennen dying removes a 600 gold bounty from his teammate Aurelia? Well, the way the new bounty system works is that at all times the amount of gold you are worth when you're killed steadily increases as you make gold from champion kills, assists, minions, and monsters. Killing or assisting in a champion kill will increase the gold you are worth by 1 for every 3 gold you get from that kill. For example, Lee Sin in this top fight picks up 2 assists and then gets a kill onto Brand. Shortly after, when he dies to Kayle, he gives over a bizarre amount, 441 gold, as the amount he is worth was increased due to the assists and the kills he got earlier. At all times, there is a counter that is slowly working in the background, adding up how much gold you've made and increasing your bounty along with it. Now, while the counter is always going up, the only way to make it go down is to die, at which point it is fully reset back to its base amount, which is generally 300 gold most of the game, but will increase slightly depending on champion level. So if the only way to make the bounty go down is to die, how did Aurelia's bounty go down when she didn't die? Well, that's because it didn't. Aurelia's individual bounty is actually still counting up in the background and hasn't changed at all despite disappearing from the scoreboard. It is now just hidden and no longer claimable. This is because of team advantages. The bounty system calculates how strong both teams are by using a combination of gold, XP, turrets, and neutral objectives taken by both teams, and from that it deduces how much a team is winning by. A team that is considered to be winning by a large amount will have a small percentage of their bounties ignored by the system, while a team who is winning by only a small amount will have their bounties ignored by a much larger percentage of the system. And a team who's considered to be exactly even when compared to the enemy team will have the bounties suppressed entirely. This is why we see such massive drop-offs and swings in the bounty amount in these clips from the intro. Now, warning here, this math might not be 100% perfect. I'm working off imperfect info and I'm a league coach for God's sake, not a math teacher, but the explanation is good enough to make sense. Now, at this moment, just before her teammate dies, Aurelia has farmed 123 minions. I'm having to guess a little and I'll save you the math, but this gold increases her bounty by 900 gold or so. She also has 6 kills, meaning we can add another 675 gold to her bounty from those kills. This means Aurelia's bounty would be worth 1,575 gold right now, which is massive. But of course, that amount gets reduced by a percentage depending on how much her team is winning by. It's hard to tell, but I assume at this moment the game considers her team to be at a smaller advantage, which is a weird naming, but this reduces her team's bounty by 60%. Meaning the accessible amount of her bounty that the enemy team can claim by killing her is 630 gold. When rounded down, this is exactly what the scoreboard says. Then, when her teammate dies, blue team catches back up a little, and so the game considers Aurelia's team to now only have a small advantage, and thus it applies a higher 90% deduction to her bounty, leaving us with a bounty that is accessible of only 158 gold, which again gets us to about what the scoreboard is telling us. Then, a few seconds later, most likely due to turret plates taken by the top laner while his lane opponent Kennen was dead, blue team catches up even more in gold, making it so that the game considers the teams now to be exactly even, and thus it applies a 100% reduction to Aurelia's bounty and makes it completely inaccessible and unclaimable by the enemy. But it doesn't go away. If Aurelia's team was to start winning again, her bounty would instantly reappear on the scoreboard and be obtainable again, even if she went AFK right now and did nothing. Now there's one big question remaining that needs to be answered. Do bounties get reset upon a champion dying if their bounty is in an unobtainable state as a result of the team advantages? Because if so, it means maybe our Aurelia player would benefit from intentionally feeding during this moment where her shutdown has disappeared from the scoreboard, as a way to deny her opponent from ever being able to claim it later on when her team falls back ahead. Well, I'd like to introduce you to our Graves player. Graves and his team just managed to get Baron, and along with that, Graves was lucky enough to pick himself up a triple kill and 2 towers afterwards, rocketing him to a plus 300 gold bounty on the scoreboard, as he made tons of gold and his team has pulled ahead in terms of their team advantage. Then, as he's walking out of base, the enemy team takes Dragon. This put their teams back to an even state and removes everyone's bounties from the scoreboard, including Graves, putting his massive bounty into an inactive state. With his bounty inactive, Graves dies at the start of the next teamfight, giving over just 410 gold. 410 gold is the base amount of gold you always give when you die at level 17, confirming for us that none of his currently inactive bounty was given over to his opponent. But did it reset back to 0? Well, Graves' team went on to win this teamfight, and Graves didn't even get an assist for that, yet his bounty came right back and then some. So that confirms it. Bounties, while in an inactive state, cannot be claimed. They just continue to count up in the background, waiting for your team to pull back ahead in terms of team advantage before they then reactivate. And they can't be reset to 0 unless you give over the gold. Sorry if the intro led you on. I theorized the idea of intentionally feeding to deny bounties when I made the intro, but once I got more in-depth research and testing, it turns out right accounted for that one. But this just searched me to look for even more ways that we can abuse the bounty system. There's not a lot, but here's what I come up with. Firstly, think about Pike ult. It gives the assisting teammate an item they can activate in order to gain gold. The issue is, when you gain gold, the gold will increase your personal bounty, making it so that your opponent get more gold when they kill you. So always wait until after you recall to buy items before activating the Pike item to gain the kill gold. That way you're worth less if you die in the interim, since you haven't received that gold and your bounty hasn't gone up yet. Another thing I've noticed after checking a couple of games is that neutral objectives have a huge weight in deciding which team is advantaged. So if while taking Dragon you notice your top laner on the other side of the map is about to die, it may be worth keeping Dragon alive for a little longer until after your teammate dies and then finish the Dragon off, as finishing Dragon may potentially push your team into a higher advantage bracket, which could increase the kill bounty that your teammate has right before they die. I know that's a niche one, but so was my tip from an older video where I said to leave the Nexus towers at low HP instead of killing them. And FlyQuest used that tip in Game 5 of the LTA Finals in order to set up a backdoor and take home a championship title. Now, I don't think because of this one small tip I can take credit for FlyQuest winning the championship finals, but if you called me an LTA champion, I wouldn't complain.
I also recently saw something on YouTube somewhere that the towers, Nexus towers, regen very slowly, but if you kill them, they respawn faster, then they will actually get HP back. So like, it's better to just leave the towers on 1 HP rather than kill them.
A little off topic, but that was just too cool not to try sneak into a video somewhere. Anyway, let's finish off the video by starting an argument in the comments. I think the new bounty system is honestly really good. Previously, it was actually possible for you to have a bounty when your team was losing overall, which doesn't really make sense because it's a team game, and so it makes sense to be using team's collective advantages as the trigger for when bounties activate, so that it can work as a true blue shell effect. Sure, this does lead to very weird and confusing moments like what we saw with the Akshan clips, but you have to realize that this Akshan clip was cherry-picked replay from a situation where the stars aligned in order to create something truly bizarre. Most of Akshan's deaths most likely occurred when his team was in an even or losing state, so his bounty was just never claimed, and just continued to climb into the tens of thousands because he just had all this CS and kills. Then you had this situation where the enemy team was constantly hovering around even and slightly winning, which was just constantly turning on and off the 100% multiplier on the potentially massive personal bounty that Akshan has. So as weird as it looks, this is just absurdly unlikely to happen. And these weird moments can probably be easily fixed in a number of different ways. You could, for example, create more subtle thresholds for bounty activation. Rather than making these steep 30% jumps between tiers, why not just create more tiers with 5 or 10% intervals so the bounties are just adjusted more often and more frequently? If you have your own opinion for if you think that this system is good or bad or how it should be adjusted, feel free to leave comments down in the description below. I'm interested in the conversation, but overall, my opinion is that this system just makes sense. It rewards you for killing the strongest enemy at a moment where your team is losing the game. Truly, what more could you want from a comeback mechanic? Thanks so much for watching the video. Now, this video was a little bit outside the scope of what I usually talk about and included way too much reading and maths in my head, so if I made any mistakes, feel free to point them out and I'll update the description and leave corrections there for people to check out. Please, don't be too harsh on me, guys. I didn't go to university. I played League of Legends for 7 years instead. Anyway, have a good one.